You're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on the SonicBreakdown.com.
Man, it's time to wake up. Get this cake up.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is D. Ray Brinson, and you know the Stay Woke Podcast is presented by the SonicBreakdown.com. Head over there now and check out our reviews, as well as for those that listen to the Stay Woke Podcast, you should definitely check out another show that we have on our network, which is Could You Be More Specific with Jonathan Steele, and that comes on every Tuesday and Thursday. So definitely check that out. But today is going to be a special episode. This is going to be another part of our series for the new music or the Kanye album tour, in essence. He's releasing 5 albums. And as we stated, me and Trav have been doing all of these reviews. So welcome to the podcast again, man. And I appreciate you joining again for this episode. And
indeed, man. Happy to be in the building.
And as we stated, we already released the Pusha T Daytona album, the Kanye solo album, and the Kid Cudi Kanye collaboration Kids See Ghost album. And so today is going to be the 4th of the installment, and it's Nas. As everybody knows, me and Trav both are big Nas fans. We've been for a long time. Yeah. It's been about 6 years since Nas's last album, so it's highly anticipated, highly requested, and just let's get a little bit into what you were thinking in anticipation of this album.
I was waiting for a long time, man. I was hoping that this album got done last year, the year before last, especially with the whole Calip momentum with the Nas Done track on this album. So anticipating this album for the release, I was one of those guys. I was just waiting, kept checking Apple to see when the album coming out, man. I was definitely waiting for a very long time for this, man. I was very excited as soon as I saw the tweet that Kanye sent out. It was being dropped on the 15th, and then I chimed into the live stream of the listening party in Queensbridge. Like, I was really paying attention. And I heard a couple of songs. I ain't hear all of it, so I was just waiting for it to drop the next day, man. And so a lot of people don't like it, but I very much enjoyed that.
Similar to you, I was high anticipation of the album. I didn't listen to the listening party. I wanted to. I just was really busy with other work things and ventures, and really, to be honest with you guys, trying to get out, edit the podcast that was being released on Friday. So I just didn't have the time, and I didn't want to. You sent me a link. Some other people sent me some links to listen to it because it was taking so long to get on Apple Music that I didn't. Yeah, I didn't want to listen to it. I waited for the Apple release because I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to listen to it in the form that they intended for me to hear it. Because sometimes when you have it in other links and things like that, the sound quality isn't quite exactly how, in this case, the producer Kanye or the artist Nas wanted it to be heard with everything mixed and mastered perfectly. So that's kind of what I waited for. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited. And finally, I think it was Friday towards evening is when I heard it. I got tired of checking, so I was busy doing something else, and then when I got a free time, I was like, oh, let me double check, and it was up. So I checked it out, and I do enjoy it a lot as well. I want to talk about the title and the cover, similar to what we did with the Kid Cudi Kids See Ghost. The title, to me, Nasir, is his name, and to me, it just gave it that it was going to be a very personal album that was going to be more introspective. And we'll get into a little bit later of, if it actually panned out to be that way. But what did you take when you first found out about the title of it being Nasir?
I was like, that's a cool title. It's his name. So, yeah, I was thinking maybe it was going to get more in depth. I mean, but, the elements that was on this album is on elements of all his previous albums. It's just that it just get more, it evolves more. He just talks about things and he evolves it. So I figured if he named it Nasir, then he's probably going to return back to everybody liked about Nas and his previous albums. I think it's deep and stuff. I figured that's why he named it Nasir.
And what did you think about the album cover of the
row
of little boys holding guns and one particular boy facing the opposite way?
I thought the guns with the children and the toys and robots. This shows how the society is right now. That kids growing up in is violence. Is kids want to play black boys getting harassed by police, hands up against the wall, getting shot. So it's a lot of things in that picture. We can that can be a whole nother conversation with that picture. So it explains a lot.
Yeah,
But I like the cover. I definitely like the cover.
I do too. For me, the way that I kind of saw it is I saw it in that same manner as well that you just brought up, but I also saw it as in that the way that's, as you said, the way that society is, we have made it so that we value guns over lives as a result of all these mass shootings, all these tragedies that are revolving around guns. And, you know, it seems like it's at least every month now that there's a gun shooting, a mass gun shooting, or something where they found, you know, kids going to schools with guns, or, you know, recovering guns from schools, things of that nature. So it makes us feel that the fact that we haven't done anything legislatively to help alleviate that gives me indication, because with everything else, we regulate strictly. Take, for example, the cannabis industry. The cannabis industry is highly regulated, and there has never been a recorded death of cannabis, but yet guns are steadily killing people on a daily basis, and we haven't changed any of the laws. We haven't changed any of the laws since any of these shootings in the last year, in the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? So that idea of that we value these guns more than we're valuing these boys' lives, and especially when you add just children and then people, black people are usually lower on that total pole, and then black men, especially black young boys, as we've seen with the increasing videos of police brutality, as we mentioned. So those are the kind of things that brought up to me, or were brought up when I saw that imagery. And like you said, we can spend a whole nother podcast specifically just on all the meanings and things behind it. I also want to take this time to preface about our breakdown of the album. This album is still relatively new. So there's going to be a lot of different meanings and a lot of different contexts and nuances that we're not going to be able to pick up in the short time that we've listened to it. Specifically with the lyrics, the production's a little bit easier to break down somewhat, but there is still a lot of layers in the production that you're not going to be able to pick up and hear to its full extent until you get several listens in. So please excuse that, and don't think that we didn't want to break down the lyrics that way. But hey, due to time, and we want to get this out for you guys to hear it and
just layers and layers.
To verbalize with you.
Well, always want to get that with Nas lyrics or breakdown. That's going to take dissect that for a while.
Yeah, people are teaching classes on Nas lyrics, so we're not going to be able to break down all of it in, you know, an episode. But what I was, let's go right into, you know, the very first track. What did you think of that, of the intro, of that introduction?
Man, that was dope, man. It was like it was like the recoming of like Kid, man. The beat, the production, and then as soon as he comes on, black timid guards, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just like, yo.
Oh, and
man.
And I should mention the name of that song is Not for Radio, and it features Puff Daddy. The album is 7 tracks long, as all of these albums are, and I think the runtime is about 26 minutes. Right.
Yeah, it's about 26 minutes. About 26 minutes. Right.
So
maybe a couple more seconds.
Yeah, the intro track that Not for Radio reminded me, especially when you have the Puff Daddy, was Hate Me Now.
It did.
The feel of,
I was getting ready to say that too.
Yeah, the feel of the production had that cinematic feel, like you in a movie, like, oh, yo, this is about to be the dope one of the dopest movies you've seen, just by that feeling that it presented. As Lil Wayne said, it feels Colossus. It feels, you know what I'm saying? It has that kind of feeling, the way that it begins, and especially as well as when Nas says Escobar season, you already it adds to that element. Yeah, it adds to that element of Hate Me Now and all the previous Nas tracks that, you know, we all consider almost hands down consider classics. What did you think about just how the amount of information that he was dropping initially, and that was a heavy dose of lyrics in that initial track?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like when I said about the title Nasir, as soon as he comes on, he's still both black Kemet gods and Egypt, and like, yo, this is Nas. This is what Nasir does. You know, you go back and you know, a lot of people are giving praise to other MCs and stuff about being more grown up and dropping the knowledge on their previous, their most recent and previous albums they dropped. But this guy's been doing this shit for 20 years. People just tend to forget, like all this grown up stuff that people swear that the other MCs are just doing now and they give him praise to. This guy's been doing this. So as soon as he comes on from the rip, he's giving you knowledge from the rip. As soon as he comes on, you hear from him 6 years, give you a dope beat, got Puff in the background, and he's dropping jewels on you from the door. So yeah, that's what Nasir does. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Not only is he dropping jewels and dropping gems, but he's also giving confidence, and it's inspirational. The way that he's presenting it. It's not just like, yeah, this is a whole bunch of facts, a whole bunch of knowledge. But it's helping build.
No.
It's helping build you as a person and as a feeling that you can achieve your goals, whatever they might be.
And that's what we always done. We always done that. You
exactly.
know what I mean? He's not been like a preacher. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely gives you that confidence. Let you know you got to remember who you are. You know what I mean? With your ancestors, your lineage, what's in your DNA. You know what I'm saying? And just to be mindful of who you are, and be woke, and just be mindful of who you are. You're more than slave history, or you're more than just being from the hood or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you come from greatness. So he just to remind us that. You know what I mean? On almost every project he had, that
Definitely.
This was ill the way he started it off.
Now, I did want to ask you about, of course, the internet does what the internet does, and they've fact checked some of the information that he was dropping in that Not For Radio. While I'm on that, I want to just touch on the title itself, Not For Radio. And to me, that the title is indicating, I'm going to give you the information that they don't want to teach you. They don't want to give you, that they're hiding from you, in essence, that because they don't want you to have this confidence. They don't want to have you to be this prideful. They don't want to know what you truly are capable of. And as Puff Daddy says, they're scared. He keeps on saying that's why they're scared. That's why they're scared. They're scared of the greatness that we have, that's in us, that's within us, and that if we realize the greatness within us, that somehow that's going to take away their power. And that is something that is
that's a fact.
That is something that's real, because I believe that's a result of why so many people voted for Donald Trump. Is a result of they were scared of the power dynamics shifting, and he was promising that he would keep the power dynamics in the way that they are, make America great again. Make America great again, in essence, to me, again, this is my opinions, these are my thoughts, that it's saying keep white America great again. Keep white America to have the power that they've always had.
Yeah, they just didn't want to be bold. He just didn't want to come out bold enough there. Everybody
exactly.
gets the drift when he says that. You know what I mean?
And so to me, he's saying, Nas is saying that, that's, and Puff Daddy are saying, that's what they're scared of. They're scared that if we realize the greatness that we have within us, we will attain the power that we deserve. But what I want to flip and say is, if by us attaining power, that doesn't mean that it's going to cause you harm. That's the overall cause of it, because there's really enough for everybody out here. If you think about it, like if we split all the resources in the world evenly, everybody would be living very nicely. Not, sailing in yachts and everywhere, but you would be able to sustain your family, them to be able to do like that mentality of having enough for everybody. But if you have those scarcity tactics, it allows the power structure to stay the way they are. And so that's what I kind of think that he's talking to. But what I wanted to ask you specifically is, they did a lot of fact checking, like that a black man started Fox News, things of that nature, and that is not correct. What do you think was the impetus for him saying that, if it's not facts or not the truth?
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I never heard that before. He also said Willie Lynch was a myth. I'm not, that one. I don't. That doesn't sound like that might be true, because that's been around for a long time. I'm not sure about that. I didn't do any background checks myself.
Yeah.
On that. We haven't like we just said a minute ago. We haven't had enough time to actually sit down and break down everything. We'll start doing research and everything. But no, I don't know about the history of Fox News with a black person. founded the company and that. And this whole thing about Willie Lynch being a myth, I'm not sure about that because I actually went on Ancestry.com. My last name is Lynch, by the way. And one of my ancestors tracked back to his family, so, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
my thinking on that was that he's kind of parroting and showing what Donald Trump did. Is Donald Trump does and people that represent him do is spit out fake facts, fake news.
Yeah.
I think that's what he was trying to do, is saying, you know, if he can get away with it, I think it's like a parody, or him saying, you know, well, he does it, and y'all don't say nothing about his, so don't come at me about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, until he's the president, until you fact check him, that's who we should be fact checking. That's who we should care is factual, not a rapper. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I take it is, if you don't fact check him, don't fact check me about it, because it's
they gotta do fact. They gotta go fact check that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, everything that he says, go fact check.
So that's kind of how I took it.
I was getting ready to say, when I meant by the Willie Lynch thing, it's like when I did the Ancestry.com, I had a great grandmother that passed at 103 years old back in the early 90s. And when I went beyond her name and went back, it showed that the slave masters of the Willie Lynch family had some of my ancestors as slaves. I want to get that correct, because I ain't want people thinking that I'm related to. No, I mean that's how my family got their last name from. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
From that. So I just wanted to clear that up real quick. I'm not related to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My ancestors was definitely
No. That's understandable. You want to clear that up, though.
I have to clear that real quick.
Let's move on to the track number 2. Cop Shot the Kid.
Okay, that was ill.
Yeah,
that's the first song I heard.
Yeah. What did you think? What was your initial impression of it, and what do you think about it now?
I thought that was dope. I thought that he used the party songs, the hip hop songs. It's the you know what I mean by boom bap hip hop song. He used Slick Rick sample. You know what I mean? A party. It sounds like a summer banger, but at the same token, he's talking about cops in America and the shootings and all the bullshit that goes on. But he put the medicine in with a party beat. That's gonna be a summer banger. And this shit has been ringing off on the radio up here ever since that shit dropped. I mean, ringing off. That shit is on like every 5 minutes now up there since the summer banger. Great song. I was like, oh shit. And then Kanye yelling in the background. I like that part.
Yeah.
That makes it even more dope. I ain't gonna front. That screaming in the background by Kanye.
Yeah.
Makes it doper. And then you got the Slick Rick sample. And he's going in talking about the cops and talking about how things go down. It's an ill song, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Same thing for me. The first thing that got me was the Richard Pryor. The Richard Pryor skit in the beginning. That took me back to KOD from J. Cole, because he also had a Richard Pryor skit prior to a song as well. I think it was Kevin Hart, or after Kevin Hart. So it kind of took me to that. But then the Slick Rick sample and the way that they had it, the Richard Pryor segment bleed into the Slick Rick sample of him talking about the story about a cop and him saying, and going in right into the Slick Rick sample, I thought is very, very great. It was a good point, or a good introduction or transition into the production. And then the other idea that came up with, as you said, it has that very joyous kind of, but it has somewhat of a somber tone on the very lower, or like very deep into the layers of the production, the melody. But over the overall feel is, like you said, very joyous, very upbeat kind of feeling because of the way it's layered. It reminded me of how the same thing with Slick Rick is. A lot of people know that song. A lot of people like the song and they can recite it, but the way people sing it, talk about it, and express it doesn't reflect what the actual meaning of the song is. You know what I'm saying? Like when people talk about it, they talk about it in a joyous, happy, like gleeful manner. But when you break down what he's saying in the song, just like if you break down what Nas is saying in the song, he's talking about people getting killed, police brutality.
Yeah.
Not just people, kids. Again, going back to the cover art, kids getting killed by police and the systematic oppression that is involved in that, and the pipe to the prison system, all of that is tied into that. But that's not the feeling that you get when you're listening to it sonically. I just thought it was interesting. And,
I'm glad, and it worked out on both of for both of those artists. You know what I mean? For it to have like a radio hit, but also has like the conscious story inside of it. Like the Great came out where it was from the beginning. That gets major shine, part of hip hop classic books. You know what I mean, of songs, and it had a message inside the song. You know what I mean? Now I did the same thing with the song. He sampled it with this. He's talking about something real, a real subject matter, but he made it in a way that it's going to be catchy for the radio. So you're going to get the message because it's going to be on the radio. You see, strategically how he played that move. That was dope. You know what I'm saying? I felt like exactly like both of those songs. You have to listen to the words and the message behind the song.
Definitely.
Subconsciously, with the Slick Rick record, a lot of people don't really catch it.
Exactly. Like,
but,
the cop shot the kid. The kid scream like, but that's the part of the production where people really like bob their head. The kid, cop shot and then it's like, but do you realize and it's crazy. It's kind of like a representation of society. We go through the world as everything's on a normal day-to-day basis, like things are cool. But when we break it, really think about it, like we have, the immigration situation where kids are getting separated from their parents and being locked in cages, police brutality against black and brown people, Korea situation, like shit is really, there's a lot of shit going on, but we kind of move through the world as if everything's okay.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? And that's how we kind of vibe with the beat is everything's okay because we're feeling good, but there's real shit going on that we need to pay attention to. Yeah, there's real shit going on we need to pay attention to.
Exactly, and I try to do, but everybody get caught up in day-to-day life and just trying to stay afloat. But it's crazy out here, man. This world is fucking sick, man. You know what I mean? Like it's sickening. You know what I mean? I wish I could take my son and my wife and we just get up and just move to another planet for a little while. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be sick like that. I be thinking that for real, like a lot. You know what I mean? But it's every day some shit goes down. It's killings. It's people getting separated from their families. It's just fucking nuts, man. There's sick shit going on, man. Well,
yeah, and like I said, that stuff's going on. But what we see people talking about mostly in the news media and things of that nature is people are more worried about where LeBron's gonna go as a free agent than they are about these. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like. But again, I'm not saying.
I don't give a fuck about that. Literally, like I really don't. I'm not one of those guys that care about that shit. I used to in the '90s. I definitely. I mean,
there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just saying, like, it's the idea of that about having that balance of understanding. Yeah, there's time to have fun, but we also need to take the time to like try to fix the real shit's going on and pay equal attention to that as we do the fun stuff.
Yeah, be conscious of what's going on, man. You know what I'm saying?
So
being conscious and being aware and being woke, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to, especially since everybody running around with this. It became a trend now as of recently with this conscious thing, which is cool. I mean, I've been doing
as long as it works for the better.
Doing this for years.
Yeah, as long as it works for the better.
That's the only trend that I approve of in a way that I'm cool with. You know what I'm saying? Everybody being woke and getting on a conscious wave. Great. That's the best wave I've seen happen, a trend I've seen happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that it continues like this kind of health, because think about it for, when we were younger, fast food was the thing. Like, and people are gradually getting away from that because of these health trends and everything that's going on, and people becoming more aware of how food affects them. I'm hoping that same kind of trajectory or maybe even a faster one happens with the wokeness and people being more conscious and adding, more layers to humanity, being more humane towards each other.
Yeah, I hope we get back to that too, man. And Nas is always necessary for that. You know what I mean? You're going to get that from Nas. Whenever he drops anything, especially an album, it might not be every single that he drops, but he's going to give you some kind of body of work is going to be in that.
Yeah.
And he's been consistent with that for over 25 years of doing that.
definitely.
You know what I mean? And he inspired like new cats and new generations to come through. Guys like Kendrick and Cole, you know what I mean? And whoever else new coming up as like one of the newest guys or whatever, like Joey Badass. All these guys that they drop these and they get that it came from that. And before Nas it was Rakim and KRS-One. So it's like, you know, this is necessary in music.
Like he shouted out Roxanne.
And
so yeah, you built off the people before you. Just a quick to end on this one is the last verse was kind of really striking and kind of really epitomize what we're seeing in society and the images we see. I'm just gonna quickly read that last verse. Talking big shit, ready to die. I know every story got two sides. Claiming he paranoid by the black guy. Cops want to make it home by nighttime. Just a good kid, he wasn't that guy. Had a little hit, he wasn't that high. Cop gonna claim that it was self-defense. Say he was riding dirty, so the case rests. That kind of epitomizes, like I said, what we've been saying of what we see in society. And then the very last verbal words on the production before it goes to the next track is, the cop shot the kid, I hear the kid scream. So that's the last word you hear of that track. And to me that was it was striking. And when I hear that last line, and especially because for me, similar to you, we really try to catch the every line. And and that line is very prominent at the end, the way that they have the production surrounding it, it just hits me. And it's like, it's to me, it's saddening that we're still at this point that Slick Rick was talking about this, in the 80s, I believe. Yeah, 80s, I believe. So Slick Rick was talking about the same thing we're still dealing with today. Not much has changed. Actually, it's gotten worse in the fact that we're seeing it visually and having proof and bringing it to court, and that's not changing it still. That's...
He just had me sit back rethinking that again. Like, yeah, man. I was ill, man.
Yeah, so
that track was ill. That was, see, and this is stuff that's gonna get played now, rotational. That's what we needed, man.
Yeah. So the next track is White Label, and I like the production on this track as well. What did you think about this particular track?
Yeah, I thought it was dope, man. The beat was ill.
Yeah,
the beat was definitely ill. It was definitely, you could tell this was definitely a Kanye joint. Sure. You know what I mean? Absolutely. You already knew that from the rip. That you put this on, you knew Kanye was behind this one.
Yeah,
absolutely. Word.
What was your favorite track off this album?
Probably as of right now. Well, it probably still is Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Same thing for me. Mine's is Adam and Eve, and then Cop Shot the Kid is number 2, kind of like 1A.
Right.
Bonjour for me, it's a cool feeling track. It's a nice vibe. It kind of gives me like a summer, like if I'm out on my patio chilling, nice summer night, me and my girl.
Right.
I'd play that.
Cigar smoke.
Yeah, chilling, relaxing, vibing out. Yeah, that was a cool track. It reminded exactly. It reminded me of the production of J. Cole's Saint-Tropez off of.
Okay.
Is it For Your Eyes Only?
Wow, word. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And it also reminded me of a track off of Untitled Unmastered of Kendrick's. I don't remember which, because he didn't have names on that album, so it was just like numbers. But I don't remember what number it was.
Yeah,
date. So so I don't know what date it was, but there's a particular track that reminded me of it because it has that like a Lady of Pompeia or something like that, Paloma, something like that kind of production. Everything to me, I liked everything. The only part that was I guess like frustrating for me is it felt whiny. Yeah, Kanye's singing part felt whiny.
I took too long with that shit, bro.
Yeah,
I was getting tight with that too. I think him and Dream was like back and forth the singing thing in the beginning.
Yeah,
it's a whole fucking verse, man. And I singing, it was like a verse.
Yeah.
A hook and a verse.
It seemed a little bit too like I said, too whiny for me. I would prefer it to be closer to. You might remember this track, Pusha T's 40 Acres. That he has with The Dream.
Yeah. Word, I was
like
dope.
To me, and that's why I think it's Kanye. that it was Kanye's vocals that I had a problem with, because like I said, the production is kind of similar to 40 Acres, and the kind of feel of the whole track is kind of like that.
Wrong with it, man.
But I think Kanye's vocals and the way that they were distorted, and it was too much of it too, because like you said, in 40 Acres, it's only on the choruses. It's not verses of the singing
I want to
too.
hear 40 Acres now. I ain't hear that in a minute, man.
Yeah,
I like that song.
yeah, me too.
I don't like that. I don't like the line and shit, but yeah, I definitely like Pusha T's verse.
Yeah, so that's
on
why I think to me 40 Acres is a better version of everything to me. So
yeah.
And then, what I will say that I did enjoy Nas's lyrics, and one of the lines
Of course.
that stuck out to me was how he was relating the bus boycotts to what happened at Starbucks of black men getting kicked out. I just thought that was an interesting relationship and comparison that I didn't think of, but it makes sense. And that's what I really enjoyed about that line. And then I also like the fact that he's talked about staying grounded and staying humble as we attain success, but at the same time giving back. And not just by giving back, but I was like, oh, I give you my music. That's not, he's saying, that is giving back in a way, but he's actually talking about like giving back, like buying real estate, empowering other young entrepreneurs on ways to be successful for themselves so that they can then help other people of color. That I think was important as well. And the line about don't think the same as everyone else, I think which is the line that Kanye kept on repeating. I think the reason why I kept on repeating it is because, one, it's basically what he was parroting before about free thinking. That's what he was saying is, I don't think like everybody else. I'm a free thinker. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, but so that's why I kind of think that's why that line was pushed so much, is because that's something that he's trying to promote and push, which necessary I don't think is a problem, but just thinking differently than other people, I think you have to put some more parameters around it.
Yeah, because
you can't just because we look at the sky, you say it's blue, I say it's red, I'm thinking differently than you. No, that doesn't make you a free thinker. A free thinker is you actually put more thought behind it and really broke it down as much as you could from a different perspective. That's I think.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that's why he kind of was pushing that so much in that song. But again, I might be wrong. Who knows?
I just like the fact that Nas, he has him on the album as producer, but he definitely is like showing that he's not with the shit he's with. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and
not all that. He ain't for all that madness shit. He ain't for that fucking slavery was a choice shit. He ain't on that.
Yeah, and that's why I think with this song is. That's why they didn't talk about free thinkers. The way that what I was explaining, I think, is what Nas was saying is, think differently than others. Yes, that's fine. But put in the work and the time to make sure that whatever you're thinking about or whatever you're trying to think from a different perspective is thought out. You're not just saying it because it's not the first thing on your mind that you thought is differently.
Talking out the side of your neck.
Exactly. You really thought it through. You really broke it down. And that's why I found this track interesting in that regard, that Nas is basically saying is Nas elevated and elocuted what Kanye was trying to say better. So that's why, yeah. Then you have Adam and Eve right after that. And as we both said, that's our favorite track.
Yeah, that shit was hard.
Instantly when I thought of that, a song that popped in my mind, which is Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit, is what pops into my mind.
Yeah.
As in association to that.
Wow.
And then also when they say Adam and Eve don't fall from the apple tree, of how he's basic, an interpretation can be. Yeah, an interpretation for that to me was Adam and Eve is, from the biblical sense of the first children of God.
Right.
If they're the first children of God and they're saying the apple doesn't fall from the tree, basically that, as in the Bible says too, that we're built in God's image. Kind of building on that, of saying that we're the apple, God's the apple tree. So if we're falling from that, we have to be a part of that tree. We have to be a part of it. That has to be within us as well. That idea of like, we are kings, we are gods in ourselves. We're gods walking the earth. That kind of idea is like what they were trying to portray. Like man is God, I think was kind of adding to that component. What did you think about that?
I think also same way. Yeah, I'm thinking about the same way you're thinking with that. And on the flip side, also kind of gave you like this, this mafioso feel
Mm-hmm.
too. You know what I mean? If you ever watch mob movies, it used to have that kind of a that kind of a vibe to it. And then, and you know, you also talked about Fredo. How these guys, you know what I mean? Like from the golf. I don't know. Some people picked up on that. Some people didn't. Broke my heart, Fredo. You know what I mean? These guys, fictional kings, like they, because I mean, yeah, we all kings and queens, and and gods and goddesses and all that, and earths and whatnot. But like sometimes these people out here, they got false crowns on because they misleading shit and they spreading bullshit and propaganda and
False gods
bullshit. So
walking.
you have to touch on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, false gods walking.
Right.
To touch on or to piggyback on what you were saying about that mafia or the mafioso kind of feel is to me is that piano. It's the way that the piano comes in.
Definitely the piano.
Adds to that, and it's the tone of the piano as well adds to that feel and propels it, and it adds to the aspect of control. Because when you think of the mafia, when you think of those kind of films and the way it's about control, who has the control? And what he's talking about, if you're God, if you're a God or you're elevated, you have the control and you use that control to your advantage. And like you brought up the Fredo thing, it's like it's kind of, I took it as more of like, I can't even really be mad at you. I should have known this. Like I'm smarter than that. Like, like like always being prepared for everything, kind of that mafia mentality of I'm always prepared for everything, I'm always aware of everything. And which adds to that kind of God feel, omnipotent, omnipresent. I just thought was an interesting dynamic, and I think you're right. A lot of people didn't get that that kind of Godfather quality or atmosphere that they were trying to create.
Yeah, that was definitely a Godfather feel on that, man, for sure. I thought about that, and then that's one of the ones I saw from the listening part, man. And just the whole, that's one of the ones I saw. And the whole feel with that, man, you had this whole Queensbridge brother and everybody around in the circle, and then hold up champagne glasses, and they got this Queensbridge has people that go through Queensbridge have like this, they have certain chants and certain sayings they say out there. And you're like the whole crowd scream that, like Queensboro, bad loud, and they toasting champagne and that and fucking these covers on, man. That's hell, man. Just for the listening party itself, man, that was just to see that when having live this song. I was like, yeah, that put me in the tone for the album. Like, yeah, this is some next shit. He's back, man. This is when I was like, yeah, he's back. When I heard this shit, I'm like, yo, he's back. Nas is back, man. And definitely SO season again, man.
The other thing that this makes me think about is the way the production on this also reminds me of Forbidden Fruit by J. Cole. With Kendrick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And just the subject matter as well of that, like we're the forbidden fruit, like we're special, that kind of idea.
Yeah, we are, man. I mean, everybody just gotta get knowledge of self, man. It's all out here, man. It's in you. Everything's within you. All you gotta do is to search for it, man. Evolve. You know what I mean? Get deeper in depth with yourself, man. In this world, I think we get caught up in like waves and what's trendy and fucking, all this bullshit that's going on. Looking for validations in other things and people instead of ourselves, man. Everything's within you. It's all good to show love with other people. That's a great thing to do, network and unity. But some people go the extra mile, like trying to just, they change their bodies and they do a whole bunch of shit. Well, all you gotta do is just find the jewels within yourself, man. It's all there. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So everybody's special, man. You just gotta be able to tap into yourself and find that God in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. This was a elevating, inspiring production. Same thing with the lyrics, and then you after Adam and Eve, it goes right into Simple Things, which is the final track on the production.
Yeah. It's a more slower, laid back song. But Nas does that. Like he did that on Hip Hop is Dead.
Yeah.
He did that. I forget the name of that track. Still see your favorite. We used a Frank Sinatra sample.
You talking about Hope?
But it might have been Hope. But this is the way he does it, like towards the end of the album. He told, just shows you. But it's so true what he's talking about in this song, man. I catch myself feeling the same way. Like, I used to like to go out a lot, do a whole bunch of all this extra shit. I still do shit with my son and stuff like that. And sometimes I do hit the bar from time to time. But it's the simple. I find just sitting in a chair outside, vibing out with some music, maybe having a beer or a shot of something, and just relaxing, man. And just knowing that everything's good with my son and things, and that shit is mad fulfilling to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool with that. I'm content with that. Like just knowing everything's good. I'm sitting back. I don't have to be at the hottest party. I don't got to be at the most lit place or cookout or whatever. If I got my me time with my music, for me to sitting back, reflecting on things, just chilling, vaping, and vibing out, man, and just knowing that I work hard and I've done things and I came a long way, and I'm still here and I'm still going hard. That's a fulfilling moment for me, man. It's a simple thing. But seeing my son come home with made the honor roll, I didn't even know that that he made the honor roll. Just come up, wake up, and it's on the refrigerator, and he's waking me up, Daddy, I got a surprise for you in the kitchen. Hey, that's a simple thing, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's fucking, like, he's right about that, man. He's right about that. Some people don't, like, maybe our younger people right now don't understand that, or don't understand that right now. But, like, when you get a little older like us or whatever, we appreciate this simple shit, man. You know what I mean? Everything don't have to be turned up and lit all the time, man, to enjoy.
Yeah, see, I definitely agree with you, and I definitely agree with Nas. What you were saying to me is very similar to me, and I remember having a conversation with a close friend of mine, and I just remember him saying, "Man, like, we're this age, and we should be driving foreigns, we should be going overseas, we should be doing this, and this, and all these other things," which I'm not saying isn't great to do, or which people shouldn't have aspirations to do, but for me, I told him at the same thing. I was like, for me, really, I was like, it's the simple things. I was like, I like to be outside. I like warm. I was like, for me, and basically we were talking about like, what would you need to be happy? What do you need to be completely happy? And I said, it's a few things.
Right.
Similar to what you're saying is, I like to be outside in good weather. I like to smoke.
Whatever, man.
Yeah,
just,
and make sure that my listening to music and be in a position that my family is financially, physically, mentally, and emotionally secure.
Right.
If I have those things,
all of those things,
if I have those things, and my dog, because I don't have any kids, so that my dog he's my little, so he go with me everywhere. People say he's my shadow, because if I'm there, you see my dog. But
that's what's up, man.
Like, as long as I have those things, you know what I'm saying? As long as I have those things, the rest of the world can be in essence on fire, and I can be okay, because I know those are the things that bring me happiness. I don't have to go out. Like me, if I don't ever go out to clubs, party, when I was younger, I did that a lot.
Yeah, I'm cool with that
but
too.
Just for me,
once in a while,
just for me, I'd rather spend. It's like you said, the simple things. I'd rather spend time with close friends and people that actually I know care about me and I care about, than be in a club with a whole bunch of people that I don't care about and I know they don't care about me unless I can do something for them. That's just how I feel, me personally. And as I get older, I realize more and more that it is those simpler things that are going to bring you happiness in the end. Those other things won't fill the void that they'll never fill it, because you're going to always want to be attaining more and more. And we keep on seeing more and more celebrities and artists talk about that, as at the same time we're seeing more celebrities and artists committing suicide. I won't say more, but it's not going away, I'll say. Or it's not showing any evidence of it going away. With Anthony Bourdain just recently and Kate Spade. If money, fame, all that was fulfilling the happiness, we wouldn't have those people in those positions killing themselves. You know what I'm saying? It just, you know what I'm saying? So like, and then we have other celebrities that are in positions like J. Cole, like Nas, like Jay-Z, others, all of them saying things that, like money we're at the point where we have a lot of money and it's still not providing us happiness. These are the things that are doing it. What is it going to take for the rest of society to realize that? Because if the people that have the money are telling you the money's not going to give it to you, the people that don't have the money and everybody in between is telling you that, it has to become, fact at some point or strong. So I just think that was interesting take on it. The thing that was crazy to me, or not crazy to me, but interesting, is the way that it ended. How the last line is, I just want my kids to have the same peace I'm blessed with. And I thought was very fitting because the cover is about kids. The last line is about kids. And throughout this album, he's talked about the future, kids, which to me shows how much the future and educating and giving self-esteem, self-confidence, knowledge to the youth is like his priority. That's what it seems like based on this album. That's his goal at this point. That's what brings him peace. That's what brings him happiness, is trying to provide that same peace and happiness and success to others that are younger than him.
Definitely, we need that, man. We need that. You know what I mean? Generation that's going to behind us has to be way better than what we were. You know what I mean? That's how it has to go down. And so for us to have leaders to make sure that we lead them in that direction, that's great. You know what I mean? That's why I push the issue about today's stuff. I'm not hating on new artists or whatever the case is, but like, you got to have some kind of way to leave something behind for kids that's watching you come up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I come from a generation where I was listening to Nas and AZ and Prodigy and Mobb Deep and things. And the stuff they were putting out, like, yeah, we had the negative shit we was talking about, using the Robins and the Slash and stuff. I mean, yeah, that shit was in some of them. And the majority of it, they were also giving you jewels and they was mixing the medicine and it was just giving you other ways to view life, the other way, the inspiration, let you know that you're more than what they tell you are. The history tells you are. And we need to do that, to make us better leaders for the generation coming behind us. You know what I mean? So that's always necessary. Always necessary. Because the generation that's coming behind us has to be better than us. We have to prepare them to be better than us, man. We have to make them think more, be more conscious. You know what I mean? Mentally elevate everything.
Yeah, definitely. So that concludes the Nas album, Nasir, that was executive produced by Kanye West. I really enjoyed the album. I think it's a really great project. I've been listening to it very, very frequently. I'll quickly, say we have Tiana Taylor is the last album coming up next, correct? Unless they do a sci-hi. I'm hoping they do a sci-hi. We need.
I hope me too.
That'd be pretty dope.
That would be ill. I like sci-hi.
And me too. I definitely think people should definitely check out this album. There's going to be a lot more content and information that we can break down as a result of it. So we would love to hear you guys tell us what you think about the album. Break it down for us. Tell us how you rank it in comparison to the other three Kanye produced albums. And at the end of it, we'll rank ours and let you know what we think about it. But I do want to say thank you to Trav for doing another Stay Woke podcast with me.
Having me here, man.
No problem.
Absolutely.
And again, so we're going to do the Tiana Taylor, so definitely come back for that. Remember to check out.
Tiana Taylor, we be in for that.
Exactly. Remember to check out every Tuesday and Thursday for Could You Be More Specific with Jonathan Steele, and every Friday and sometimes Wednesdays for Stay Woke podcast. And our motto: live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more.
Love more.
And we out.